The fan you already own is sitting 3 techniques away from doing something people assume only a machine can do. Not a breeze, not a wind chill trick. An actual drop in the real temperature of a room, measured on a thermometer, using nothing but water, clay, and air that's already moving through your house for free. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to stack those 3 techniques together, and why almost nobody bothers to. Here's the problem everyone's living with right now. You turn on a fan, and it feels like relief for about 4 seconds, and then you realize it's not cooling anything. It's just pushing the same warm air across your skin faster. Meanwhile, the actual machine that does cool the room is quietly running up your electric bill in the background, every single hour, whether you're home or not. That's the trade most people accept without ever questioning it. Pay monthly, forever, or be hot. Nobody tells you there's a third option sitting in your basement and your garden shed. That third option isn't a secret, it's just old. It's the kind of knowledge that used to be common sense in every farmhouse in America, before anyone could plug something into a wall and it got quietly set aside once electricity made it easy to forget. It's not hidden, it's just not profitable to remind you of it, and that's a very different thing. So let's start with why it works, because the science is honestly the best part. When water evaporates, it doesn't just vanish, it pulls heat out of its surroundings to make the phase change happen. That's not a metaphor, it's measurable. Roughly 970 BTUs of heat get absorbed for every pound of water that evaporates. A gallon of water weighs about 8.3 pounds, so if you evaporate a full gallon, you've pulled out somewhere around 8,000 BTUs of heat. For comparison, a lot of small window air conditioners are rated in that same 5,000 to 8,000 BTU range. You are looking at comparable cooling power sitting in a bucket for the cost of a garden hose. This isn't a modern discovery. Ancient Egyptians hung wet reed mats across doorways so that dry desert air blowing through the damp fibers came out noticeably cooler on the other side. The Persians built tall windcatcher towers, badgers, that funneled outside air down over water and underground channels, using the same evaporative principle to keep spaces livable through brutal desert summers. Real documented engineering, with zero electricity involved. Then, in 1902, an engineer named Willis Carrier built the first modern mechanical cooling system for a Brooklyn printing plant, mainly to control humidity so ink wouldn't smear. That invention kicked off an entire industry. And over the following decades, as the country got wired for electricity, the old evaporative methods just stopped being necessary for most people, so they stopped being taught. It's not that anyone buried the knowledge, it's that a subscription-shaped business model, sell the machine, sell the power, sell the repair, quietly outcompeted a one-time, near-free method that nobody makes recurring revenue from. That's not a conspiracy, that's just how markets tend to route around free things. Now here's the catch nobody mentions in the quick fix videos, and it's the reason most homemade coolers fail and get written off as folklore. Evaporative cooling only works when the surrounding air still has room to absorb moisture. In dry regions, researchers studying evaporative coolers have measured incoming air dropping by 20 to 30 degrees or more, using a fraction of the electricity a standard air conditioner burns. Take that same setup to a humid climate in July, when the air is already saturated and it barely does anything, because there's nowhere for the extra water to go. That single fact is the whole reason a basic wet towel on a fan trick works great for some people and does nothing for others. So here's how you actually build a version that accounts for that, in 3 stacked layers, each one covering the weak spot of the one before it. Even on a brutal day, temperature usually swings 15 to 25 degrees between afternoon and early morning, and most people sleep straight through that free window without using it. Open the house wide overnight, run your exhaust fan hard, and let that cooler night air flush all the way through. Not just the air itself, but the walls, floors, and furniture, which slowly soak up that coolness the way a stone left in a creek stays cold. Just before sunrise, seal everything back up, windows shut, curtains drawn, especially anything that gets direct sun. That trapped coolness in the walls and floors keeps radiating back into the room for hours, while the heat outside just bakes uselessly against a shut, shaded house. Like a towel, which evaporates a thin surface layer of water and dries out fast, porous clay soaks water deep into its body and releases it slowly over hours, so it keeps cooling long after a towel would have gone dry. It's the same principle behind old pot-in-pot coolers, an unglazed clay pot nested in a slightly larger one, with wet sand packed between them, sitting in a breeze. Tests on these setups in hot, dry regions have measured the inside running well below the surrounding air temperature, with no power at all, which is also, not coincidentally, roughly how ancient cultures kept water and butter cool for thousands of years before refrigeration. Put it together, and here's the full build. Stack a few unglazed terracotta saucers or pots behind your fan's intake, with their bases sitting in a shallow tray of cold water so they stay saturated. Position that fan so it's pulling the cooler, basement-level air across the wet clay before it moves through the room. Run the whole system inside a house you flushed cool overnight and sealed at dawn. Each layer covers a gap in the others. The clay gives slow, hours-long evaporation instead of minutes. The basement air gives you a cooler starting point, even on humid days. And the night flush means nothing has to work as hard to begin with. A couple of honest limitations before you build this. It will underperform in genuinely humid, low airflow climates. There's no way around the physics of saturated air. Standing water anywhere in the system needs to be changed regularly, or you're growing mold and mosquito larvae instead of cooling a room. And this is a supplement to, not a full replacement for, mechanical air conditioning in extreme heat, or for anyone with heat sensitivity health concerns. Treat it as a way to cut your cooling load and your bill, not as a guaranteed substitute. Think about the money for a second, not to alarm you, just to be honest about it. A typical home spends real money every summer running a machine to do a job that water, clay, and moving air handled for free for thousands of years. That adds up over a lifetime into a genuinely significant sum. None of that means air conditioning is a scam. It means most of us were never handed the cheaper option that still works alongside it. So this week, try the first layer by itself. Soak the towel, hang it on the fan, feel the air actually drop in temperature instead of just moving. Then add the basement path, then the night flush and morning seal. Then, when you're ready, add the clay. By the time you've stacked all three, you've built something close to a machine's worth of cooling out of a fan, a towel, a few dollars of terracotta, and the ground under your own house. And you'll understand exactly why it works instead of just hoping it does. If this is the kind of practical, overlooked knowledge you want more of, that's what Hidden Fix Lab is built around, pulling useful, forgotten methods back out and explaining the actual mechanics behind them, one room at a time. Next up, how the same layered thinking applies to keeping a full season of food from spoiling in summer heat with no freezer and no electricity. Just one overlooked shelf most people walk straight past.